Good day, Crime Talk aficionados. We have a great show for you. First, the former Brian Kohberger judge decides it's time to retire. More details in the case of the missing woman, Suzanne Simpson. Another teacher in trouble, and guess for what? And guess what again? It's a female. Kouri Richins has a bad day in court. We have this day in legal history and our dumb criminal of the day. Let's talk about it.
Hi, lawyer.
Good day, Crime Talk aficionados. You know the drill. Subscribe if you haven't, like if you do, leave me a comment below, hit that little bell for notifications, and remember, you can check us out anytime on any of your favorite podcasting apps. My name is Scott Reich, and this is Crime Talk. I want to thank everybody for joining us last night on our live program, Tuesday Night Live. Hadn't done it in a while just because of some of my scheduling, but I think it was a really great show. We did the call-in line, and we had people from Indiana talking about what took place. People literally lived right there in Delphi. Interesting show. I think you enjoy it. If you haven't gone to check it out, please go check it out. We'll put a link there for you. But it was last night's live regarding the Richard Allen case and why he was convicted. All right, let's go ahead and open the record for Wednesday, November 13th, 2024. And first on the docket, that's right, the judge who was set to oversee the Moscow, Idaho murder trial for Brian Kohberger before he granted the change of venue and it got moved to Boise, well, he plans on retiring. So Judge John Judge of the Idaho's 2nd Judicial District there in Latah County signed a letter last month notifying the state of his intent to retire. So the judge submitted his retirement letter a month after he granted the change of venue sought by the Brian Kohberger defense attorneys in the case involving the death of 4 Idaho students. The letter states, "After extensive contemplation, I have decided that it is time for me to retire." The judge wrote, "It has been a journey of hard work, challenges, life lessons, sacrifices, joy, satisfaction, and sometimes frustration and heartbreak." Now, the judge is going to turn 69 next month, and he said that he cherished his 40-year legal career, which included 24 years as a private attorney and 16 years as a judge. He has been in the current district court role for the past 6 years, which included about 15 months he spent handling the Brian Kohberger case. Now, for those who don't know, Brian Kohberger is accused of killing 4 University of Idaho students, Madison Mogan, Kaylee Gonsalves, Zaina Kernodle, and Etha Chapin, who were found dead at their home there on King Road there in Moscow, Idaho, 2 years ago today. The home has since been demolished, and yes, this is the 2nd anniversary of their murder today, November 13th. Next on the docket, that Texas real estate tycoon charged with murdering his still missing wife, Suzanne Simpson. Well, he was seen driving with trash bags, a heavy-duty trash can, and a large bulky item wrapped in a blue tarp. Now, as he searched for the dump the day after that she vanished, according to the newly released arrest affidavit. Now, Brad Simpson was seen with the suspicious load soon before he bought cement and Clorox wipes on October 7th, the day after his wife of 22 years was last seen engaging in a physical altercation outside of their Olmos Park home there in Texas. Now, there were screams coming from the woods, according to the arrest affidavit. And the morning after the alleged fight, Brad Simpson dropped off one of his 4 children at a school and pulled into a Whataburger near his home around 10 a.m. 3 white trash bags, a large heavy-duty trash can, an ice chest, and a large bulky item tied down in a blue tarp were seen in the back of his truck, according to that arrest affidavit. Now, a metal firewood rack sat on top of the tarp in a manner to conceal the weight of the tarp down, according to the arrest affidavit. And less than an hour later, Brad went to Home Depot where he bought 2 bags of cement, a construction bucket with a lid, a box of 32-ounce heavy-duty trash bags, 1 bottle of Clorox disinfectant spray, and insect repellent, according to police. Now, in the parking lot, he allegedly asked a stranger directions to the nearest dump, and then intentionally shuts off his cellular phone. Now, according to the arrest affidavit, his truck was seen leaving the dump about an hour later, and he drove to a gas station to fill up his truck, with the trash bags now missing. Now, the now accused murderer had also changed from sandals into work boots. Now, the arrest affidavit said a license plate reader captured Brad's truck heading back from Bandera County to Kendall County at about 1:40 p.m. that day, and the document states that the blue tarp was no longer visible and the firewood rack had been repositioned. Now, he apparently picked up his daughter from school about 2 hours later. That's, it's a good guy when you can allegedly, chop up, dispose of your wife, go around town, do all your errands, and still make it back in time to pick up your child at school. I'm being facetious, ladies and gentlemen. Don't have to write in the comments, my Scott, that's terrible. Just a little levity to the situation, ladies and gentlemen. The arrest affidavit then states that he drove to a car wash around 4 p.m. and was filmed on security cameras washing out the front of his car with dried cement splashes near the rear passenger compartment and the bed of the truck. Now, a friend of Suzanne called Brad that night to ask for her. The friend later called police and reported her missing about 10 p.m. Just moments later, Brad also called the police and left a message trying to state that he hadn't seen his wife all day, and now he was getting a little nervous, scared for her, almost like she was missing. Anyway, Brad Simpson also told police that his wife lost her cell phone while they were at the party at the Argyle, which was a private club where the couple was seen with their daughter hours before she later vanished. Now, while driving home from the party, Suzanne called her mother and said Brad had physically assaulted her, according to what the mom has previously stated to the police. Now, the police later discovered that Suzanne's cell phone was suspended at the request of the subscriber at about 9:16 p.m. on October 6, which completely contradicts Brad's initial statement to police. Now, Brad was arrested on October 8th and initially charged with family violence and an unlawful restraint, but the charges have since been upgraded to murder as police say they are sure that Suzanne is now dead. Well, he did not appear surprised at the time of the arrest, according to the arrest affidavit, referring to Brad, and stating that he had cuts and bruises on his hands that they observed when they were handcuffing him, and he also appeared unconcerned and showed little emotion about her disappearance. It's probably because the emotional shock that he was in when he was being arrested as a man being wrongfully accused, I'm sure is what his attorneys are going to argue. Anyway, police executed search warrants on the couple's home on October 9th, and they found 3 cell phones and a laptop from a burn pit. And all of 2 notes recovered from one of the phones were titled This Next Life and Last Will and Testament. He also confessed and apologized in the notes for assaulting his wife in August of 2023 and again on October 6. Now, police say they also found 1 bag of cement, a bag of heavy-duty black trash bags, a heavy-duty trash can, and a metal firewood rack. Now, police interviewed Suzanne's personal banker, to whom she had allegedly confided about her husband's physical abuse, and Brad often took her cell phone away, the banker said, and the phone belongs to Brad, according to the police. Now, Suzanne had allegedly told the banker that if she went missing to go look for her in a lake. That would be consistent with the whole cement thing, don't you think, ladies and gentlemen? Putting the feet into a bucket of cement, perhaps, but yet he threw him off by going to the dump. Sneaky. Anyway, a family friend told police that Suzanne knew her extremely jealous husband tracked her via her phone, and the arrest affidavit also reveals details about the conversation between Brad and his former business partner, James Cotter, who was arrested on October 22nd and also charged with tampering with evidence. Now, hours before Brad's arrest, he texted Cotter, "If you're in Bandera, can you haul ass and meet me at your house? I don't have much time. I will be there in 40 minutes, Cotter." Brad responded, "Okay, make sure and leave all that shit into the pump house, especially the gun. Get over here. I won't tell anyone," Cotter texted back, adding, "You're my brother." Cotter posted bond on Thursday after the bond amounts were significantly reduced. And during a virtual court appearance for a Child Protective Service hearing on October 29th, Brad told the court that he had last spoken to his wife around 10:30 p.m. on October 6th. He also said that Suzanne was likely in Austin with her sorority sisters because it was her happy place before his attorney told him to stop talking. Anyway, Suzanne's body has still not been found, despite a massive search effort near the landfill that he visited. And Brad is being held on a $5 million bond there in Bexar County. Now, they say he's a real estate tycoon. Why is he not posted that $5 million bond? Apparently, he's not as liquid people are making him out to be. Anyway, next, another teacher in trouble, a creepy teacher. It's a little weird. What do I keep telling you, ladies and gentlemen? You got to be careful of the people that want to hang out with your kids, okay? The people that want to be near your kids, you got to ask, why do they want to be near your kids? Because that's where the kids are, right? That's right. They're weird and creepy oftentimes. Just throwing that out there. Not coming from a guy that's done 30 years of criminal defense, represented lots of people that were around kids. Be careful. Be careful, ladies and gentlemen. Anyway, some details have emerged about a Los Angeles teacher who was arrested on charges of sexually assaulting a young teen. Please meet Colleen Jo Matricio. She is an educator at the John Burroughs Middle School, ladies and gentlemen. And she was taken into custody last week on suspicion of child molestation. Now, investigators believe that she was grooming and sexually assaulting a 13-year-old victim in her classroom and later convinced the victim to have sexual intercourse in her car. But prosecutors now say that Miss Matricio had abused the boy for over a year and actually left her husband due to her deep love for the teen, and described this young boy as her crystal meth. Nothing says love. Like, you can't separate it, ladies and gentlemen. You just can't separate it. And what is age but a number, I guess, apparently, right? Anyway, at her court appearance on Tuesday, Ms. Matricio pled not guilty to 5 felony counts of lewd acts upon a child under the age of 14, 2 felony counts of lewd act upon a child age 14 or 15, and 1 felony count of furnishing a controlled substance to a minor. That means that the young man is cooperating with the police, ladies and gentlemen, because, hey, brought a little bit of meth, right, to loosen everybody up, I guess, a little bit, to set the mood. Well, Ms. Matricio's attorney argued that she should be free without bail, but the district attorney had other plans. He told the court that she had text messages indicating Ms. Matricio had no plans of stopping the relationship. In fact, if she was released from custody. The prosecutors alleged that the inappropriate relationship began when the child turned 13, and most of the abuse happened between August and November of 2023. Now, she first met this young man when he was 12 years old, and the inappropriate relationship started at 13 years old when she was still a teacher at the middle school. Now, after the investigation, which she believed was over, the relationship did not end. Now, in the messages between her and the minor, between Miss Matricio and the minor, she apparently indicated that she is in love with him, that he is the only one that she would go to jail for, and that he is her crystal meth. Like I said, romantic. Roses are red, violets are blue. You make me feel like I do all day. Something like that, I guess. Anyway, prosecutors further alleged that the abuse worsened once Ms. Matricio discovered that she was going to be arrested, noting that the 2 of the charges are based upon more recent conduct. Now, Ms. Matricio's ex-husband and other family members had apparently pled for her to stop seeing this young boy on multiple occasions, but Ms. Matricio couldn't. She was addicted to love, ladies and gentlemen. Anyway, the prosecutor also accused the educator of contacting one of the victim's friends on Instagram to continue to communicate with the boy. And at one point, the teen boy reportedly told one of Matricio's family members that the teacher can be very jealous and that he's concerned and scared for his own safety. Further, according to the DA's office, the victim was particularly vulnerable, and Ms. Matricio took advantage of that position of trust and confidence as the teacher continued to commit these repeated offenses. They also claimed that Ms. Matricio had a complete lack of remorse while committing the alleged crimes. Needless to say, she didn't get out with no bond. I literally, my mind just explodes, okay? Grown woman, 43 years old, 12-year-old boy. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? You can't make this stuff up, ladies and gentlemen. You can't make this stuff up, and I just don't know how you stop it. Last night on our live show, somebody asked a question. Have you ever seen somebody that's never been in trouble before and then all of a sudden do something? Yes. And normally it involves some sort of sexual offense, some deviant sexual behavior, ladies and gentlemen. You got to be careful who's checking out your kids, which is a great lead-in why you want to go to CrimeTalkSearch.com and sign up for that background subscription service today. And when you do, you're going to be able to do a background search on anybody here in the United States. And while you have that subscription, you can do as many searches as you desire. And you are going to be able to get a report literally emailed to you while you wait, ladies and gentlemen. And let me share with you some of the areas that it's going to cover. All right? Going to give you a summary. Contact information, possible address history, possible relatives, neighbors, associates, jobs, education, possible usernames, possible social media sites, possible photos, assets owned, criminal history, even down to traffic records, bankruptcies, judgments, liens, and professional licenses, ladies and gentlemen. That's what you're going to get when you sign up. Somebody's new is coming into your life. I don't know, maybe the swim coach, maybe the teacher. Go check them out. Normally, this stuff doesn't just take place in a complete vacuum. There's usually signs. Go to CrimeTalkSearch.com. You're going to be happy that you did. Next, let's go to Park City, Utah. Let's talk about Kouri Richins. That's right. A Park City judge ruled on several motions in the Kouri Richins murder case Tuesday morning, including the motion to reconsider bail and to dismiss the drug distribution charges. Now, Kouri Richins, the woman accused of poisoning her husband and later writing a children's book on grief, was denied bail for the second time after the judge ruled that she was a flight risk and potential danger not only to herself but to others and the community. Court also granted the estate's motion to dismiss both drug distribution charges. Judge Razek considered arguments on several motions, including the motion to sever charges, select jurors in person, and reconsider the bail argument. Almost immediately after everyone was seated, Judge Razek ruled in favor of the state's request to drop the drug distribution charges, count 3 and 4, before moving on to the motion that required much more discussion and argument. Now, Richins' attorney then discussed their request to sever the aggravated murder and attempted criminal homicide charge, arguing that they should be tried in separate trials to avoid prejudice by the jury. They also argued that the mortgage fraud and forgery charges were wholly unrelated to the death of Eric Richins. And after much discussion of the issue, Judge Razek denied the motion to sever the murder charges from the attempted criminal homicide charges, saying there is an argument that the two are connected under a common scheme or plan. He said that the alleged attempted homicide was only 17 days before the death of Eric Richins, and in both incidents, there were text messages allegedly indicate Kouri Richins had obtained fentanyl, given him food or drink, then left the scene. However, he said that due to the possible unfair prejudice, the 4 counts of mortgage fraud and forgery would be severed and tried separately. Now, with 2 charges dismissed and 4 others severed, the defense stands a little more confident, apparently. The case against their client is narrowing, exposing deeper weaknesses in each step to the government's case, said Miss Richins' attorney, Kathy Nestor, one of Miss Richins' attorneys. And the defense then brought the issue of jury selection before the judge, arguing that the jury should consist of 12 people rather than 8 and should be selected in person. Well, the judge said that he agreed that the jury should comprise 12 people, but was unable to grant the request due to Utah's current law, which restricts the jury to 8 persons. He said Utah may be on the wrong side of history in this fight and respectfully denied the motion. As for in-person jury selection, Razek disagreed with the attorney's argument that people would be easier to read and more honest in person. However, he granted the motion due to the extreme amount of media attention, which he ruled qualified as an extraordinary circumstance. Now, the judge said the jury should know what they are getting into in terms of media attention, and attorneys should be able to select from them while they're observing them under these particular circumstances. Now, the defense presented its arguments to reconsider Richins' bail, saying that there have been multiple changes to the case since Richins' bail was originally set and last denied back in June of 2023. Denied. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, normally bail, you get one bite at the apple. It's set, unless you can show change circumstance. The change circumstance in this particular case would be charges have been dismissed. That would be a change of circumstance. A change of circumstance does not include, hey, Judge, I've been here now for 14 months. Please let me out. No, not even a basis to argue bond again. Everybody always wants to go to court and argue bond again if they're in custody. You just don't get to do it. Next, on this date in legal history, on November 13th, 1931, the infamous mobster Al Capone was sentenced to 11 years in prison for tax evasion following his designation as public enemy number one. His conviction highlighted the use of financial crimes as a tactic to prosecute organized crime figures, shaping strategies used in the legal fight against criminal enterprises. Next, on November 13th, 1970, jury selection began in the infamous trial of Charles Manson and several followers, known as the Manson family, for their involvement in multiple murders, including those of actress Sharon Tate and Leno and Rosemary LaBianca. The trial captivated the nation, impacting public perception of a cult-related crime and leading to a reevaluation of courtroom security and media influences in high-profile cases. Then, on November 13th, 1970, the Supreme Court heard Harris v. New York, a case where the court ruled that statements made without Miranda warnings could still be used to impeach a defendant's credibility if they were to testify in contradiction to those previous statements. The decision impacted the admissibility of certain evidence in criminal trials, influencing strategies in both prosecution and defense cases. Let's not forget that on November 13th, 1990, the United States Supreme Court ruled in Arizona v. Filamonte, a landmark decision that refined the Miranda rights. The court ruled that coercion invalidated confessions, even if physical harm was not involved. It expanded the protections of the defendants under the Fifth Amendment to the United States Constitution. And finally, our dumb criminal of the day. A Florida man reportedly stabbed his brother because he was taking over the food. This is one of the first times I've heard about somebody getting stabbed for taking over the food, apparently while they're cooking. Anyway, apparently the incident happened in Miami, Florida. It ended in one man being arrested for allegedly stabbing his brother in the neck because he was taking over the food that they were preparing. Alexander Rodriguez stabbed his brother in the kitchen with a knife at their Miami home after the two got into an argument. Now, reports say the brother took off into the bedroom, but Rodriguez followed behind, slicing his arm and his face. Thankfully, the police and fire rescue responded to the home, and they were able to take the brother to a hospital. It sounds like when they arrived, he was using some clothes to put pressure on the wounds. Anyway, Mr. Rodriguez fled from the home but was found hiding at a nearby tree after police set up a perimeter. He was ultimately taken into custody. Rodriguez apparently told the detectives that he got irritated when his brother was taking over the food, adding that he thought his brother was going to grab a knife because of his attitude. Why can't people just get along when it comes to food? Food is supposed to bring people together, ladies and gentlemen. It's not supposed to bring people apart and divide wedges between them. Bring people together. All right, that's all we have for today, everyone. I hope you enjoyed the show. We'll see you next time. And remember, the Constitution matters.